Yo, August was a wild one. Today we're going to be talking about all the pizza side hustles that we conquered in the month of August. And I hope that you appreciate the alliteration. We're going to be talking about classes, consults, competitions, and catering. It's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot in this. We're going to be getting into the weeds of what went right, what went wrong, what we're definitely not going to be doing next time, and what I want to do more of. There's going to be a whole bunch of things about all of the above from the title. There will be chapter markers in the description. They should work on whatever platform you're watching on. So please use those if you don't want to listen to the entire thing and just want to learn about a certain thing. But I hope you find this episode useful and I hope you appreciate the extra work that we're doing to make sure that this is valuable to you, right? If you only want to learn about catering, then skip to that part. If you want to learn about the entire journey, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And remember to always ask, what's good dough? Okay, let's start off with classes because that's kind of where the month started. Like, I've been looking at my August calendar for the longest time and I was just like, yo, there's going to be a lot going on. And classes was first at bat. And really, it all started back when I was at a corporate team bonding with my wife's company and we were sitting at the Giant Stadium and I was like, yo, this is pretty cool. Like, because she's the director of operations, she helped organize that event. And we were just sitting there and I was like, if you ever want, I can do this sort of team bonding for you all, getting everyone together and doing a pizza class. I've done pizza classes in the city, San Francisco in the past. I've done 2 corporate events and I was like, I could totally make it happen for you all. And that sort of planted the seed. And eventually she convinced her founders to say yes to it. Their budget was $50 a person. And I said, you know what, let's make it happen. In the city, we charge about $112. But granted, part of that money goes to the platform that gets us bookings. It's also a full restaurant experience. So I'll comment on that later, but for the most part, I said we will make that budget work. Ultimately, we had 13 people sign up, but last minute, 3 people didn't show up. The good thing about these events, catering and classes, is that you give me the final RSVP list. That is the number I'm going to charge you for because I am doing prep for 13. I'm setting out stations for all 13 people. We ended up using 5 tables. We had 13 dough balls, 13 sets of flour. This was like a whole, mix the dough. You keep that dough. I had 13 pizza sets ready. You make your own pizza, you launch, all that. And so if people don't show up, you already paid for the prep. So they ended up finding, a couple people to take over some of them, but ultimately 10 people showed up at the end. Look, for me, that was great because I only made about 15 dough balls. I tried to over optimize the dough. I didn't want too much waste. I'm not big on waste. And so it worked out, but I will get straight to the mistake number 1 right now, which was not having enough ingredients, specifically dough. In the future, I am going to make way more dough so that I can show the entire class what the spread is on the menu. We had 4 options that day, 2 veg, 2 proteins, and I should have just laid it all out for everyone when they showed up, so that they can see how I would make the pizza, how I would distribute the toppings, and how it's supposed to taste. Instead, I made everyone margarita pan pizzas. We're not even making pan pizzas. I just wanted to feed people because I knew it was dinner time, and I don't like to start a pizza class without pizza. I chose to make pan pizzas because I had 2 par bakes already ready to go, and I was low on dough. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I definitely think that it would have helped everyone. It would have given everyone a chance to fully experience it because when you get into the pizza making, what I've noticed is that people don't like to share the pizza that they made. So if you opted to make the chicken bacon ranch, you're not trying the truffle shuffle. It would have been nice to just have that spread of okay, try these pizzas. And maybe I don't know, I would say for that, I think I cut my 12-inch pizzas into 8. I would have just made probably 2 of each pizzas. So I would have made 8 pizzas prior to them showing up. There would have been extra pizza, but at least people would have had a chance to try it all out and then take a pizza to go. What else could I have improved? Well, aprons. running these classes at a pizzeria, we had access to so many aprons. I had none. And I definitely think it would have just leveled it up a little bit. So I'm definitely going to get aprons. I'm thinking with my logo on them, it'll be used as marketing. Or I could just do the white aprons and reuse them. It'll be efficient. We'll see. I'm still thinking about it. I think at the end of the day, I have so many aprons here. And maybe that's just me. I don't use them all. I don't show them off. So I'm really thinking how much reach those branded aprons would be versus just everyone wearing an apron in the photo. Who knows? Or maybe I can reuse the apron. I'll look into the prices, but essentially you'll want aprons because it makes it seem more official. Another thing, space, running it at a pizzeria. My backyard is not as big, and we have this like tent canopy thing. It was hot summer August evening. Oh my goodness. And unfortunately, the canopy 10 by 15 did not cover all 10 people with the table. And I could have adjusted it. I didn't. We had some coverage with the umbrella, but it was just not comfortable. So I think for my backyard, 10 people is definitely the max. I can adjust it a little bit more to make sure that we have coverage, but just being thoughtful because nobody wants to be blazing hot making pizza. It sucks. And so we're definitely going to fix that for next time. Think about the overall experience. Think about your guest. And I thought I had thought about them, but not enough. I didn't think it was going to be that hot that day. And I think with the ovens blaring, the Coda 2 Max is such a fiery oven. By the way, if you're looking for an Ooni oven, check out the link in the show notes. That Coda 2 Max is a game changer. And if you use my affiliate code, it's going to help so much. So thank you in advance for doing that. Trust me, the burner design on these things, you're no longer burning the crust, right? Because the Coda 16, the fire goes forward and it's really easy to jeopardize your crust. Same with the Karus, right? But these, they shoot up and then out over, and all the space, so good. So check out that link in the show notes. Name tags. I've done pizza classes in the past, and it's so hard when it's like you have somebody who's so active and engaged, and they're like, what do you think? And like, it's a great way to just talk to people, right? Calling someone Jim or Nancy versus you and hey, dude. I don't think I'd ever call one of my students dude, but name tags were a plus. So if you're thinking about doing these classes, get those name tags. My wife said, because this is her company, that having, like I told everyone, like 3 to a table, and I have a 2-foot by 48-inch table. Having dedicated workstations, maybe using some blue tape to show that this is your section, this is your section, and this is your section. I think 3 to a table would have been great. They all ended up like squeezing 1, 2, 3 next to each other, but my vision, which wasn't clear, was one on the edge, one on the other edge, and one on the middle. They didn't do that. So it is what it is. But for next time. Yeah, I ended up portioning everything pretty well in terms of flour and water. I mixed the flour, the salt, and the yeast all together in one container from the Dollar Tree. And then I gave everyone like a quart cup of water. And then they were just able to mix everything in that container, and then they took it home. A lot of people were so interested, and that is a teacher's dream, to just have a class that is like eager to learn. And I think I messed up by not giving it enough direction, period. Point blank. Like I could have printed out a sheet that, how to store your dough, how to make each pizza step by step, what kind of sauce, what kind of cheese I like. I didn't do that. And they were so like eager to learn that they would ask these questions and I would tell them. And then other people weren't listening, so I'd have to repeat myself. And I think really creating your run of show and almost making it public for people so that they can have a visual aid to see everything. My wife was like, not joking. She was very serious. Like, you should have had like a camera overhead so that people can see you shape. I would love to have that. I could probably set that up with a TV and a GoPro, but I think I could do that. We'll see. Yeah, I really think that I could have put more thought into this for sure. I think I could have done a lot more to make this great, but I think like with the, spending more time, smaller classes. And I also think that the class should be maybe 3 hours if it's going to be 10 people. That just means more labor. Aprons mean more costs. More pizzas means more dough. So what does that mean? You got to charge more, right? Because I could have easily done this for $50 and done an even worse job. I'm probably being a little too hard on myself. Like everyone seemed to be very happy. But for me, I have a certain standard. And I don't think that I taught the class that I would have appreciated going to. I feel like I could have taught a class that I would have been impressed with had I been in that crowd. Like if my company, they would have never, but if my company ever paid for this event and I was in that crowd, I would have wanted to impress me. And I don't think I would have been impressed. And so that is going to be my standard for next time. But what does that mean? It means I have to charge a certain price point that's going to allow me to do that. I think that $100 a person at 8 to 10 people would have given me the wiggle room to make more pizza, to hire a helper so that I can explain and I can have one person going around making sure everyone is good. Or I can, have multiple topping stations running at the same time smoothly. And so, yeah, I think the biggest lesson here is like, don't be afraid to charge more, but also give people more, right? I think I did okay for at a $50 budget, but that's not a product that I'm proud of. I don't want to just do okay. I want to do great, but that's going to need a bigger price point for everyone to be able to walk away thinking, holy shit, that was amazing. So what am I going to charge next time? I'll try it 100, maybe 85. I think 85 is cool. Let's see here, 80% of $112, I think, is what I charged at the pizzeria. And that 20% is assuming that there's a 10% charge for the pizzeria space and the 10% charge for the marketing budget. And so 80% would be like, a fair price. We'll see. Because I think at $113, it was a good price for the corporations, but it was also a good price for the pizzeria. So yeah, I think that's going to be our cost for next time. And I just want to kill it. Last thing I will say that did really well for this, I knew I had a catering event 2 weeks later. And boy, oh boy, was that amazing. Because I got to essentially grocery shop for a party of 53 versus a party of 13 or a party of 40. I did prep for a party of 53, not a party of 13, not a party of 40. And big whoop, right? No, you get so much more leverage on your time because I'm sous videing bacon one time. I'm bringing out the sous vide, cleaning out the pot, warming up the water one time. I'm chopping the mushrooms. Well, I ended up chopping more mushrooms because the people were very hungry with mushrooms. But in theory, you're chopping 6 pounds of mushrooms, doing the dishes one time versus 2 pounds, 2 pounds, 2 pounds. It is only a small amount more time to do 6 pounds of mushrooms versus 2 pounds. And by the way, a food processor slices mushrooms perfectly. Oh my goodness. So I'm always going to be using that. But yes, scale. So I think that at $50, I was able to make it work because I had scale in terms of ingredients and grocery shopping because I was able to save some of that time for my next catering event. But still, at 85 a person, I think that would have, like, even if I didn't have an event 2 weeks later, it's, prepping for a small class, you have to have that margin for yourself because it's a lot of work. I was prepping, all day that day for the event, plus all of the dough and ingredient prep that I was doing. It was probably like 12 hours of work. I know, 16, because I also had to clean up afterwards. So 16 hours of work for $650 less food costs. Not a lot. Not a lot. Not a little, right? $40 an hour. Less probably $50 in food costs. I have all the receipts there, but I'm just going to estimate. Not a lot. $35 an hour. Not a lot, right? Not worth. I mean, here, don't get me wrong. It was worth it. I learned so much, but I'm not in this game to be making $35 an hour, right? So take that for what it is. Don't call me ungrateful, because we all have to start somewhere. But I definitely think that there can be more money to be made. And I'm not trying to be like super money hungry here, but I am trying to say we can do better. Okay, we'll jump to consults. Holy Spirit. I did not think that I would be consulting for anyone anytime soon. Now, I've seen Al the Pizza Buddha do it, and I'm like, yo, that's a cool gig. But I have no idea what electric oven maintenance is. I have no idea what it means to set up a dough rounder and dough divider, and where to even buy one of those. I could probably figure it out, but like if you ask me to do all that shit, I'd be like, can I Google it first and hope that I'm right and hope that they have a good return policy in case I buy the wrong one or I can't figure it out? Anyway, that's not the type of consulting that I did. And it makes sense, the type of consulting that I did, because I like to think that I can make decent dough, decent enough compared to someone who's only been doing it for a year. And so when my consult reached out to me, he said that he was looking for help, sourdough, high hydration, and his pizzas just weren't coming out. He had issues with his launch, he had issues with his dough, he had issues with consistency. And having gone through all of those issues myself, I was like, okay, I think I can help you. I think I can help you bypass some of those troubles by showing you what I know. Fortunately, this dude was in San Jose. Fortunately, he had extra disposable income. And we ended up coming to a pretty reasonable rate of $55 an hour. And I worked with him for about 16 hours, 2 days, split up into a couple days. But yo, it was like the most rewarding work. It was hard, really hard, because I also had to brush up on my skills because I hadn't been full sourdough in quite some time. And I also wasn't hand mixing my dough for quite some time. So I had to like dust off some of the skills that I hadn't been using, but we got humming by the time we hit our deadline. And I didn't even mention this, but he was trying to get into one of the farmers markets. He had an audition on, let's call it, 2 Saturdays after we started working together. His task was to bring them pizza and show off what his creations were. And I was worried. I was worried this dude was going to give up on me, because the first day was cool. We used the dough that he made. It was a little all over the place because he had 10-day-old dough. He had whatever dough, and I was showing him how to deal with this dough if ever he ran into it, or overproof dough. But, we probably baked off like 8 pizzas that first day, and like we only successfully launched 2 because some of the dough was overproofed, yada, yada, yada. There was a lot of, talking, question and answer. And I think both of us felt like, okay, this was a good first day, but we also felt drained. I did, at least. And then the next couple of days, we made dough. The dough was just okay. It was a little flat. I got him to change up his sourdough feeding schedule. I ended up having him come by to my place, and we used the mixer. And so by the 3rd day that we met, holy shit, the dough was popping. Sorry, this was the 4th day. The 3rd day we met, we were just working on like launching inefficiencies. With a high hydration dough, he was using not enough semolina. And like in the right conditions, you could use very little semolina. But in the conditions that he had, the peel was not straight, so he couldn't build on his surface. It was a little crooked. His steps from the make station to the oven was like 25 to 30 steps, right? And so you need a lot more semolina on there to ensure that there's no stickage. Well, more semolina means more burn. And so we were just trying to manage oven temps, semolina, all of that, right? I'm not going to say I knew all the answers right then and there, but I was able to help course correct. And what I like to think I brought value on was being able to know how to do that versus him trying to figure it out over time, because he had a deadline. He had to execute so many pizzas in so little time. And I think we got there. So this guy, I'm not going to name names, but he had taken a course at this school and he worked one-on-one with another pizza consultant. But on the day that he executed on his farmer's market, he was like, Idrif, I learned more from you than anyone else. And I was like, holy shit, man. Thank you so much. That meant so much to me. And that's why I want to do more consults for sure. So if you're looking for dough help, let me know. I got you. I can do one-on-ones. We can talk about travel. We could talk about Zoom, but that was so rewarding. And I am so glad I was able to help him. It was amazing. I really couldn't believe that I was able to do such impactful work and get paid to do it. And I don't think it was unreasonable what he paid me. So yeah, I'm open to doing this type of consulting, this type of work. I think it just has to make sense for everyone, right? D, thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I don't know if we're going to work more in the future because we got to your goal. I think we will. We do have a little bit more work to do because you have some cool projects in the horizon. And so if I do get that opportunity, I'd be so honored to help you out, brother. All right, before I get into catering, which I think is going to be the highlight of the episode for most, you know me, I love catering. I love it so much. And last month I did a pop-up with a pizza buddy, and it was just a dang shame, 100 dough balls, more or less, 75 dough balls, prep for 75, and we sold like 30. Like, that sucks, right? Nobody wants to see that. And so that's why I love catering so much. So we'll definitely do a deep dive on that. But first, I just want to, and this wasn't so much like a cash side hustle, but more so like just a freaking dope experience I had in August. Let's talk about competitions real quick. It wasn't so much a side hustle per se, but it was something that I did in August that brought a lot of joy. A few months back, Tony Gimignani hit me up and was like, hey, I have this idea. I think I want you involved. It was the Ooni Pizza competition at the SF Pizza Festival. And I won't get into that too much in terms of like the planning process, but it was like some back and forth with Tony, some back and forth with Ooni, some back and forth with the group the organizers for the festival. And dude, just like, it was one of the dopest things. The San Francisco Pizza Festival has just come such a long way since the first one last year, and it's only going to get better. It might even get bigger because this year was pretty freaking big. But I mean, organizing my first pizza competition, holy shit, dude. It was dope. I learned so much, in terms of like the tables needed, the judges, the score sheets, creating rules and legal docs. Like, it was dope. It was so dope. And everyone's pizzas came out. Like, nobody dropped a pizza. Thank goodness. Because I would have not had the heart to say, buddy, you got 2 minutes to make me a pie before you get DQ'd. And so, yeah, I think that was just an amazing experience. And then I definitely hope that Tony asked me to help work on it again for sure next year, because I'm too game. Like, granted, I had to eat all of my pizzas at the end of the festival and get my fill in, or and I didn't have the opportunity to eat all day and I missed out on some guest chefs, but who cares? Goodness, I got to throw a freaking pizza competition and I got to stuff my face and got my fill of the pizza. It was just amazing, and I'm definitely happy to do that again. And then another competition I got to be a part of was the Real California Mill LA one, not the big one in Napa. The one that was hosted by the Pizza Tomorrow Summit by PMQ and the US Pizza team. Brian Hernandez and I, the person in charge of the US Pizza team, organized this, and we got to talking, and I was, I can't remember if I asked or I volunteered. Either way, I was a judge of that competition. I flew into LA the morning of the competition, and I flew out the day of because I hate missing bedtimes. And it was amazing. The pizzas were really good. Majority of the folks competing were the US Pizza team, so they had to be good, right? And it was just so dope to see such work with a cool group of folks who really love the industry and really love the game and really wanted to put their best foot forward in their competition. And yeah, I also got to judge the finals basket the secret basket. It was cool. It was like sitting at the judges table on Chopped. And I don't think I tell people enough, but Chopped is part of the reason why I got into food. Like, I loved that show. I loved seeing people cook, and then I loved, most importantly, seeing those judges eat that food and like be surprised, have an opinion to make it better, or say how they can improve, or just flat out tell them that they loved or hated it. And so to be sitting at that table, that finals table, and just be there was a dream come true. So I want to thank Brian at PMQ for helping make that happen. And of course, I want to thank Tony G for giving me that opportunity to throw this competition. And I really would love to do more of that in the future. And I don't think I said this earlier, but I really would love to do more pizza classes in the future. I think I'm going to be that jack of all trades in pizza. And that's just how my mind works. But I really do love all these things. And conventional wisdom says to like focus on one thing. And I don't know. I can see myself focusing on catering only, but that's not to say I can't have any hobbies, and that teaching a pizza class or judging or throwing a pizza competition can't be a hobby. August was amazing. And if it taught me one thing about like my upcoming move of quitting my job, is that I can do pizza full time and get paid for it, because the hours that I worked, and the money that I made, for starters, it was way more rewarding work. But like, I probably made the equivalent of one paycheck over classes and consulting and catering. But the joy that I had, the skills that I built were fucking amazing. But also the hours that I put in, I'd have to say, were far less. And even if they were equal to or more compared to my other job, I would take pizza every single damn day. So I'm excited. More to come on when I quit my job. It's coming soon. Don't you worry. It's coming soon, and that's why I'm so comfortable talking about it now. Final thing, catering. Ho 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 ho. So if you missed the whole like pizza classes talk, what really helped me in this catering event was that I did a lot of the prep work and the menu testing in advance during the pizza class. And I froze a lot of the ingredients that I prepped. I sous vide a lot of things. I vacuum seal a lot of things, and I have a chest freezer here. So that helped a lot. Here are the things that have been working. I've been constantly trying to get my ratios down. How much sauce I use, how much cheese I use, how much dough, blah, blah, blah. And I'm happy to say we left that pizzeria with 0 dough. We had like 2 doughs left at the end, and one of them was dedicated to a cheese and pineapple pizza per request of the host. Holy shit. And we fudged one of those, but we got the second one. Damn. We got the second one, fam, and we are good. So yeah, hardly any waste. Thank goodness. We probably tossed 2 pizzas. One of those was the cheese and pineapple pizza. We ended up just making a cheese pizza. We baked it on a screen. And then we made another pizza that, unfortunately, there was some soot buildup on one of the unis, and it just like, the soot buildup just popped on top of one of the pizzas, and we were just like, all right, we're not serving that shit. But yeah, hardly any waste when it comes to dough. And then we also had a new system of keeping the ingredients refrigerated, or keeping the ingredients cold. I knew we weren't going to have a canopy, and so I made sure to keep those ingredients super cold. Whatever extra we had left, I'm able to reuse them for my meals this week. But there weren't a lot. And that's because one of the pro things that I, again, have been doing was like really measuring, right? There are some things that are just going to end up going to waste, like 1 pack of burrata. It's good for 2 days. Like, you can freeze the burrata. I've done that before. It works. I didn't choose to do it this time, but one thing that I'm going to do differently is probably get a different brand of burrata. The Di Stefano ones, they're individually packed. And so you open them up, you use it up, and then boom, throw it away. And then you just have a bunch of those packs. You keep iced and they're good to go. What else? Oh, here's a little tip that I used from Cold Proof Pizza over in Milpitas. Okay. You get these, you keep all your ingredients in baggies. And he uses these like plastic bags. I just used Ziplocs, and I portioned everything out in Ziplocs. And then in my Uni topping station containers, the silver ones, I put ice under those. And so basically, it kept the ingredients cold without refrigeration. And then I just had one big old cooler that kept everything. That helped a lot. We only used 7.5 pounds of cheese for 30 pizzas. We probably had, I had it written down. We probably had like 800 grams of sauce left. And that's one of the hard things for me is I try to assume that I'm going to make, it's hard for me to assume rather that I'm going to say I'm going to make 15 red pizzas and 15 white pizzas. That's hard. I knew the truffle shuffle that I make is going to be a heavy hitter here at this place, but I didn't realize how poor of a hitter my vodka sauce pie was going to be. And so that vodka sauce, you bring enough in case it's a hitter, but if it's not, oh well. Same with red sauce. If people aren't fancying the pepperoni or, you know, the kids aren't eating as much cheese pizza as they said they would, oh well. And so this is why you have to really be careful on, you know, keeping your ingredients cold so that they're not fully going to waste. In the past, we just threw away a lot of stuff, and after the 2-hour mark, it's garbage, right? So that's one of the unlocks that we had. Real talk, there weren't a lot of wastes. One of the things that helped this event a lot was we had 4 people. I had D, my consult, come. I asked him if he wanted to experience this. I told him he could stodge if he wanted. Normally, we run a party of 40 with 2 people. I got the idea to invite D because somebody on Instagram reached out to me and asked me for advice on pizza classes. And I told him that I've been to a couple and that, you know, you get some information, but these Pizza YOLO certification classes can be hit or miss. Let's just put it that way. And at the end of the conversation, he said, hey, if you ever need extra hands at an event, I'd love to help you out. I'll work for free. And so that's where I got the idea of offering D to stage, and I actually ended up taking that guy. I will say, Rob and D, you guys were amazing. And I think you helped us with so much that day. So I really do appreciate you both for being there. And I hope you got a lot working with me and seeing my process. My process is definitely not locked down, but I think it's getting better and better at a time. And so I want to spend the rest of this episode really talking about, you know, what I can do better. And I think one of the things that we can do better, even with 2 people, is putting out less pies at a time. The client ordered 6-7 pizzas, almost 8. I usually don't do that many, but being a repeat client, I gave them the pineapple for free, which barely came out anyway, and I gave them the clam pie for free for her dad. But the 6 pizzas, after this event, I don't think we need to have all 6 pizzas out at a time. I think we have a cheese and or a pepperoni available, and then we have 2 fresh pizzas, a white pie and a red pie at all times. And don't let them sit. You know, say this is what's available right now, check back, and at the most maybe have 4. But like the worst thing is like people are like seeing like pizzas that have been out there for like 5 minutes and they look dry as fuck. And I think I'm gonna rescind what I said about like doing par bakes, or actually I'm gonna adapt what I did about par bakes. So in the past, I've par baked pizzas, just sauce and cheese and pepperoni, and baked them to about 70 or 80%. When you refire those pizzas, they do not look the same. I will say, they do help you get through a rush, which I think we can still use. Maybe just light sauce and dough, and then put the cheese on and then rebake it when you're doing the reheat. But fresh pizzas compared to par-baked pizzas are night and day. And I'm going to get to the point, but the problem here is when you par-bake pizzas, those are automatically like one level down to what a pizza should be. But whether they're fresh baked or par-baked, old pizza is at one level down even more. And when you're putting out a whole bunch of pizzas at once, people are grabbing what they like, and then pizzas get old quick. By having a smaller selection and telling people, oh yeah, come back, we'll have that one ready if it's not available now, it'll force them to take one of the fresh pies. And that's the slice I want you to take. I don't give a fuck if you want the truffle shuffle. This is the hot pizza now, and I'd rather you have the hot pepperoni or the hot other vegetarian option versus eating an old truffle shuffle, period. Fresh pizzas will be way better than the pizza that you want that's old. And so that's what I'm going to try for next time. And maybe it's not 3 pizzas, maybe it's keeping 4 at a time, but I definitely don't need cheese and pepperoni to be sitting there. I don't need any pizzas to be sitting there longer than 5 minutes. And what I've tried in the past is like I'll put out all the pizzas at once, and then like when they start to get old, I'll put them in the boxes, and that's like the to-go pizza. But then there is a small window where people are getting those old pizzas still, and that's not the product that I want to serve. That's not me putting my best foot forward. And so what we're going to be doing differently or trying for next time. 1, we're going to try to have 2 Coda 2 Maxes. Yeah, those things are boss. With that, I could cook 4 12-inch pizzas ready to go quick. Or I could try to do 6 10-inch pizzas at once. 1 on the right, 1 in the middle, 1 on the left, and that should give me plenty of space to like wiggle around a peel. I could load it and do 4, but I don't know. With the glass at top, it's a little hard. And I think by having 2 Coda 2 Maxes, I just need a bigger car to support that, because we rolled up with 2 cars and I think it was just enough space, so we'll have to figure out that problem. Oh, by the way, I try to over optimize again by not bringing the Ooni tables, and we instead use these lifetime tables, and holy shit, they almost melted on us. So when you have a tripod leg, you have all the pressure of the oven in like one tiny area puncturing the table. And then when you combine that with heat, it is not good. So we almost melted our freaking table here. Fortunately, we were able to react and distribute some of that weight by putting pizza pans underneath the table. But oh my goodness, you could see the table denting and everything moving down. It was so scary. And the reason why I used the lifetime tables this time was because I was too cheap to rent a truck, and 5 lifetime tables and 3 yellow Costco bins. All my catering stuff fit so nicely in my car and my cousin's car. It was perfect. But in doing that, I didn't bring the Ooni tables, and it was a little risky. I think it's going to work for next time. I'm going to buy 1 more lifetime table, and instead of getting the 2x4, I'm going to get the 6x3. And I think that'll perfectly, or 6 feet by 30. And I think that's going to perfectly fit 2 Coda 2 Maxes at the same time. I just need to get something to raise up the table. But damn, I was scared. I was so scared that the table was going to melt, but it didn't. So having 2 ovens, 2 big ass ovens, we ended up bringing the Karu 12G plus the Ooni Coda 2 Max. And that was plenty. I think we could have done fresh pies that way. But the problem is when you're doing fresh pies only is you need to be able to keep ovens hot. And so that's why par bakes sort of work, because you're just sort of reheating and getting the rest of the bacon. You're in and out in like 30 seconds to a minute. But fresh pies, I mean, we're talking about 3-minute bakes here plus recovery time. And so having more oven space is key. I think we can still do this event with 2 people. Maybe I'll get a 3rd person next time. So if you want a stage, let me know. No, I'm just kidding. I'll probably ask Dee or Rob if they're down, or I also have my other cousin who works at Pizza My Heart, who helped us out last time. And I think that we can do fresh pies and we'll build them on the cake circles as we normally do, and just have it all built out. And so we're just shaking them onto the peel, and at least I think the person who's running oven can grab those, and we'll just set all of those up. We'll probably do like sauce, cheese, or cheese, no sauce, and then we can just build the rest as we need. Because you can't build like 10 pepperonis, 10 truffle shuffles, 10 chicken bacon ranches, because you don't know what's going to sell, right? And maybe you could, and that fresh pizzas arguably will sell itself. But anyway, I think we'll do sauce and cheese and then build those as needed. Maybe have like 2 of each, 3 of each pizza built out. And then if we're needing more of one or the other, like let's say we need 1 more cheese, but it's hard to take off pepperoni and sell it as a cheese. But yeah, we'll figure that out. Maybe we can remove some ingredients to adapt. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But what I'm trying to say here is there are ways to still optimize this operation with a small group of people and set yourself up for the rush and still bake fresh pizzas. That is the challenge I'm willing to take on for next time. Other than that, I think, there were a couple of mishaps. I didn't bring any extra. I'll definitely need more rags next time. I think people feel more comfortable with gloves, even though I brought a hand washing station. And I think gloves are useful for handling those ovens that always end up having soot where you don't want it. And then the burrata. Like, burrata goes on cold. When you're dealing with burrata and a bunch of crumbs and crust, it just sticks on the burrata, and post bake, that just doesn't look good. We had some issues with the tables because we're on grass. They weren't even, but we were able to like work through that a bit using something to lift it up. What else? I don't know, minor things. Overall, I think we killed it. Overall, it was definitely smooth with 4 people. I think here's the thing. I think if I'm going to hire a third or fourth person, I'm going to hire them just for the pizza making portion. Like, I don't need them help. I don't need them setting up. I don't need them cleaning out. I need them for the rush. And so that's what I'm looking to figure out and incentivize for next time. Like, I might pay you more per hour just to come for 2 hours. Whereas I would pay you X amount, maybe what everyone else is getting paid for 4 hours. Ultimately, you get a premium on your time for the 2 hours that you're dedicating for me, but you're working less hours. So it'll save me a good amount and it'll make it worth it more for you for just showing up for 2 hours. That's what I'm thinking I'm going to be doing for next time to be able to manage my labor costs. Yeah, I think those are the only new things that I did this time. And I think overall the event went well. 40 people. I didn't charge gratuity because this was a previous client, but they did opt in for an extra menu item. So at 45, actually it was 35 adults. I gave them kid pricing. Let's just say, it was $1,600 for the event. Actually $1,700 because they threw in the tip. And so I split the tip amongst the employees. I didn't take any of the tip this time. I usually do, but because Dee and Rob were staging, I shot it at them and Darby, and it worked out. So overall, what an amazing August. I'm hoping that we don't only replicate that in the future, but we do more. And I have so many ideas on how we can do more of these catering events. There's going to be a lot more to come, and I can't wait to share that all with you. I appreciate you for listening. Appreciate you for tuning in. I love you. Till next time. Peace.